You know, when we speak to key decision makers such as yourselves at companies across the country, we hear a lot about the pain that surrounds the equipment rental process. And I've got some numbers on the board here that speak to those specific pains. But what we'll hear from these numbers, or what comes of this, is that there's definitely a need for increased visibility and accountability in the equipment rental process. There's a need for improved streamlining of the processes, and there's a need for cost controls and cost reductions in the process. These numbers come from a study that was recently done by Texas A&M University. And in that study, they polled industrial and commercial customers such as yourselves who used a lot of construction equipment. And what they found was that 82% of the people polled told us that an increase in equipment utilization would result in an increase in operational ROI. Makes sense, right? Use the equipment you have better and you'll improve your bottom line. Okay. What the survey further told us was that 46% of the people that said this was true and a good idea told us that while they agreed with this, that they did not track their own equipment utilization. Okay. When we look at our data, we found out that a full 24% of all rentals come back past due. And when they come back past due, the average number of days past due is 15. One quarter of your rental is 15 days past due, which translates into an extra month. That translates into a large amount of money for you guys. Okay. The thing that I think we need to take away from this is this: that utilization is directly tied to bottom line profits. Any questions around this? Okay, let's take a look at this in a different way. Okay, when speaking to customers, they tell us that there are a lot of different factors that affect their equipment rental process. The first of those is decentralization. Well, decentralization is an important component of the way we go to business today. It does present its own unique set of challenges to the equipment rental process. Okay, the other thing that we hear a lot from customers that is an influencing factor is the variety of systems that are used to manage the equipment rental process. Okay, we also have problems that arise from having so many different vendors that we need to use to meet our equipment needs. And there are challenges around the vast number of employees that are involved in the equipment rental process and the management of that. And finally, there's some challenges that arise due to the fact that there's so many different crafts that need the right tools and equipment at the right place at the right time. Okay, so what does having all these different factors do to us? What does it mean to us? Well, for starters, it means that usually, if this is your scenario, you're going to have too much equipment on hand. You have more equipment than you need on site. And as alluded to in the data from Texas A&M University, we know that we're going to have equipment for too long. And finally, we know that the systems used to manage these are simply just too complex. All right, so what does that mean to us specifically? Well, that if this is the case, you have too much, too long, and too complex, that means you're spending too much money, right? It also means that you're spending too much time trying to manage this. And unfortunately, what this translates to is that our most valuable asset, our highly skilled people, are spending too much time being unproductive. Okay? So when you tie all these things together, and I like to call this the pyramid of pain, but what the official name of this is it becomes a very fragmented, reactive process. And what that translates to is a significant problem for you guys. And this problem poses a risk for your company. What risk, you ask? Well, it poses a risk to you achieving your desired future state. And probably the greatest risk is if we don't fully understand this process and the ramifications of that, we don't understand how it truly affects our growth trajectory. Okay? So how do companies today generally deal with this process? How do they affect it? Well, for most companies, the easy lever to pull is the price lever. Okay? This means, making sure that we have the best price on a piece of equipment, making sure that we have the most favorable terms, and doing our best with that. Unfortunately, however, studies have shown that pulling the price lever only has 1/6 the financial impact as truly dealing with the too much, too long, and too complex factors. Okay? Gets us 1/6 of the way to where we want to go. And unfortunately, this means that only pulling the price lever doesn't get us where we want to go. It gets us down here to the bottom of the pit. Okay? So how do companies that realize this isn't going to work for them get to where they want to go? Well, a lot of them have begun working with RSC to develop a different strategy. They realize that RSC is uniquely positioned to be able to help them with this. And when we work with them, we work on 3 primary goals. The first of those goals is that of increased visibility and accountability. Okay? So let's say, what if your team had truly had insight into the equipment rental process? And what if they could custom tailor that process to dovetail perfectly with your organization's structure? Well, with tools such as RSC's Total Control software, you will have unparalleled visibility into the equipment rental process, and the functionality to custom tailor that process to meet your company's exacting needs. Okay. The next goal that we work towards is that of improved, streamlined processes. Okay. What if you had a true partner in optimizing your equipment rental process? Somebody who was an expert in their field, but still truly understood what your company needs. Well, with RSC's Managed Services Group, you will have a dedicated advocate within RSC that is intimately familiar with your company's structure, your organization, your processes, and whose sole focus, or whose primary focus at least, is to ensure that your people have the right tools and equipment at the right place at the right time for the right duration. And furthermore, they would be also focused on ensuring that your people have a safe environment in which to work. Okay? Our third goal is that of reduced costs and cost controls. What if you had the right tools and the right strategy in place to significantly impact your equipment expenditures and your overall equipment ROI? Well, with our customized scorecards in our key performance indicators that are pegged to the industry standards, you will have the ability to empower your people to make the best possible decisions for your equipment needs and your equipment planning on an ongoing basis. We call this the RSC Consumption Management Bridge. And increased visibility and accountability with streamlined processes, cost controls, and cost savings are at the heart of this bridge. Okay? And it is this bridge that will get you from where you are today to your desired future state. We have helped best-in-class companies, your peers, do that very thing. If you want to move from a fragmented reactive process to a process that lines up nicely, that is proactive, repeatable, and measurable, and is truly a program instead of a process that just kind of happens to you, your path is clear. If you want to move from risk to success, you need to partner with RSC. We've helped other best-in-class companies do this, and when they do this with our help, they experience financial impact that is 6 times greater than that of price alone. Okay. Let's take a look at some results from a company that has chosen to partner with us. Now, this company realized that what they were doing wasn't going to get them where they wanted to go, and they decided to partner with us. And as a result of partnering with us, they reaped some very interesting rewards. And here are some numbers that speak to those rewards. Okay, the first number, 35, represents the 35% of increased utilization, equipment utilization that they experienced, which all by itself is a phenomenal number. But what really makes that number amazing is that while they did that, they also experienced a 28% decrease in overall equipment costs. And they did all of this in 3 months. So let me ask you, what do you think?